Business ownership is the best way to build wealth, and buying a business is the fastest way to get there. Would we buy a business that doesn't offer seller financing? So in all of our videos, we typically assume that the seller is willing to do some level of seller financing. And that helps us reduce the down payment from what used to be 10 to 5, but now it's from 10 to 2.5%. If the seller offers some seller financing. But every once in a while we see listings where the sellers just say, absolutely no, we're not gonna do any seller financing. And that's the case with a florist shop that our AI search tool found in Sacramento, California. Now, of course, this isn't a big deal for, say, a cash buyer, and it's even fine for someone using an SBA loan that can put the full 10% down. But in this particular shop, they're asking just under $1 million. So to put down the full 10%, you're gonna need to put $100,000 down. Assuming a 10-year, 11.25% SBA loan, your take-home cash is gonna be about $223,000 per year, which is still pretty good for $100,000 down. But if you found a deal that they would provide that 7.5% seller's note that would allow you to do 2.5% down, you could buy a $4 million business with the same down payment. Like the one we found in North Plains, Oregon, that using the same terms would net $820,000 per year after making your monthly loan payments with the same down payment. So in an instance like the seller shop and someone says they're not going to provide any seller's financing, we would still try to get it. I mean, that can just be an opening point in negotiations. You always start saying, I'm not going to give any seller's financing, and then you end up giving seller's financing. And that's just kind of how negotiations work. It's customary for there to be some level of seller financing. It's a red flag when the seller isn't willing to provide any level of seller financing. Some situations where it's not necessarily a red flag might be if, say, the owner had passed away. You don't want to have to deal with the estate of the owner. Sometimes if the seller is really up there in age, like late 70s, they're less willing to do longer term seller financing, but still most of the time they are. So reach out if you want to talk more, and let us know if you want our help finding your next business.